2, 3.
Oh, baby.
Let's go. It tastes like metal.
Thirsty.
Oh, my thirst has been murdered.
It's good though, right? Like it's good.
Yeah, this is my first time to ever actually have this ever.
Heavy
ever.
metal water.
It's good. It's good. Very
We should have this at every venue in America.
I agree.
This sure should. So what's going on, boys?
That right there. nice big mid-30s stretch.
Mid-30s
For me. I'm 36. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good.
It is very it's interesting seeing you on the other side over there and being on this side.
I'm just a guest. I don't know. I'm in here. I'm just like, what is it? What is it?
I got asked against my will to be here.
Not true at all. False.
False. Very false. What? Oh, yes.
Yes.
See?
Don't forget your mic etiquette, Corey.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So, you guys have a heavy metal concert coming up soon, right?
Heavy metal concert. We do.
Is it heavy metal?
I
don't know anymore. I genuinely don't
If you
know.
want to talk about the metal in my body,
Yeah.
actually, technically not because it's titanium and it's very light. But
Same.
yeah, I mean we have a rock and roll show that we're here to promote and talk about. Heavy is more of a
we have parts.
yeah.
There's parts of us that are heavy metal, but it's more like an amalgamation of so many things. I always just say high energy rock and roll.
Well, I can tell you after listening to the record that it is very, very heavy.
Oh well, thank you.
Sweet.
I was referring to heavy as more of like emotional content.
If you want a good fucking cry emotionally, it's a heavy metal record. Then yes, if we're going emotional,
A
good
heavy metal record.
Exactly. Yeah.
God. Yeah, a heavy mental record.
Heavy mental record. I like that.
I did the music video yesterday, and I cried actually 4 times doing it because I shot it minus the drum footage. I shot the whole thing, and then I had to sit down and edit the whole thing, and it just is so taxing. The song's called Abolish Effect. It'll be out after this, so I can talk freely about it, but my God. Even during it, filming it, every single take, it's like I'm armed with like a camera and a ring light, like, and I have the camera holding it, and I have this wire over my back, and I have this, what was it? It was like it's like a big giant extension cord, like shoved into my pocket, so the whole apparatus can move together. And I'm sitting there and we're vibing. I'm going up and down and in and out, and it's just like, and then the same every time the part hits, and I would just fucking well up and be like, God, dude, I'm just like, fuck. And I'm having to like stare at my friend who's also probably having an emotional response, and I'm like teary eyed, and I'm just like, don't look at me.
Look at the camera, but not at me. No, it was the exact part he's talking about is when it kicks in at the end, and especially during Todd's performance shot. Corey got a lot of it's just he would bounce with the beat to the songs. You know, we have it playing off to the side and everything, but like there were a couple times during Todd's performance shot that like John and I were behind Corey because we're on the drum riser.
So we shot the whole thing on a lift platform.
Yeah, and so John and I would just have our hands up like behind him to hold him in because he would just move and all that stuff. So we didn't want him to fall, but there were a couple of times where I didn't even have my hands up because I was literally just engrossed in what they were doing together, just watching it. And I was just like, dude, this is so... And the video is so sick. I'm so happy that it turned out the way it did. Corey did. Y'all need to give some respect to Corey's name. I know y'all do, but like, for real. Like, I'm not joking. I'm going to throwing this hat down. If y'all don't mention Corey Fisher in Greatest Directors of All Time, I'm going to personally find you.
I think we're just more attached than anything.
Next question.
No. So, like, actually, I have a fun editing. It was crazy because I used DaVinci Resolve, unfortunately. I know a lot of people love it, but I can't stand it. And it took me an hour to figure out how to get it to import the file type. So if you just drag it into the thing, it won't work. It'll pop up an error message. Oh, it doesn't do MP4s. And I'm like, it's 2024. Everything's a fucking MP4. What are you talking about? And but if you open the software to a blank like thing, works just fine. No problems.
Really?
Yeah, just fine. Imports it just fine. No, I'm like, Jesus, what a fucking oversight. But anyway, I'm getting nitpicky.
So how long do you think it took to like edit the video or whatever?
I know exactly how long it took because I had to do it yesterday. Like, we only have 4 weeks for the show from this point. So, like, well, if we put it out in a week, that only gives it 3 weeks to live until it's, you know, and we'll just probably back promote the old ones to kind of fill the whole like storyline. Because there's an arc over all of them that we didn't even intentionally do. But now that I've seen the last one, it's just like, whoa, shit, this is deep. It's so much deeper. Once it kind of clicks, you're like, damn. It gets real dark at the end of that video. And I'm just like, man, fuck. Well, we made a good product.
That's awesome.
But the editing, so it shot all the performances and a through line. Right,
Mhm.
so I have all this footage laid out. It's a non-linear editor, so that you can stack like things on top. So what I will say, it does have this handy feature. So I took Justin's performance shot, and you can sync the audios together, and it just does it
Oh wow.
because it was playing in the background. So it just picks up on that, and then boom. So now I have my starting point.
Yeah.
So I would like cut in. If I could show you what the timeline looks like, it's like 10,000 little cuts all over the thing. But what's cool is I would take all 7 shots, or 7, because I had the Todd's backup shots, and I would come from the point where I just stopped, and I would drag Todd's in. Does that look cool going into it? No, pull it back. Drag yours into it. Is he doing better? No, pull it back. Drag Cody, myself, John.
So you can just drag pieces
And I would
of
drag
piece.
each scene into the next frame, watch it through to make sure. And you got to remember, I'm looking at the second.
Yeah.
None of these shots are longer than a second except the vocal takes, because the vocals are the more powerful part of the song. So everything in between is just pop, 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 pop. And I did that every single cut. It took 7 hours.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and straight. I only used the bathroom like twice. I didn't eat yesterday till last night. And then I had Raisin Cane's, son. Kurt, we both did.
So when you started playing music, did you know that you were gonna also have to be like you're gonna have to be a video director, editor, and all
Well,
that
I'm the
stuff
old
too?
one. I'll take this one. You hold on. When
By all
I started
means.
playing music, none of that existed really. Or people, you had like, there was like a Kurt. There's always been a Kurt, right? Metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically.
And you would just go to that person because you didn't have to handle it. But now it's like, well, my phone shoots 4K raw footage. If I'm creative enough, I can just do it all myself. But that entails all the things now. I actually don't prefer the new way. I think it actually is detrimental because you don't get to focus on just being the band anymore. You have to be a fucking promoter, a fucking digital artist, a
You
fucking
have to be a booking
like
agent.
a booking agent. You have to be, and you did have to be those things too back then, but it wasn't all of your waking moments now are spent like, well, hey guys, we got to make fucking TikToks and we got to do, and it sounds fucking stupid to even say it, but when I see a band play the game, I'm like, I get it. Fuck, man, I want to be somewhere too, but I don't. I made the decision probably a couple years ago. I have like the most deep conversation. Me and Justin are like best buddies, so we'll just be sitting outside and I'll just be unloading on him my thoughts of the day.
And I let him do it because he works all the time. He's very he does manual labor. So not only does he have all this like physical tension and all that stuff, but he's got all this, he doesn't have anybody out there when he's working, so he has all these conversations with himself. It's like I got to get this out. I'm a very good sounding board, I think. I'm pretty empathetic, and I like to hear what people have to say about stuff. So like, I hear all his frustrations and all that stuff, and he hears all mine. So
It's so good to have a friend like that.
But it's like I made the decision probably like 2 years ago, unfortunately, that I just don't want to play this new game. I'll do some of it, but I just don't. I like TikTok.
I draw the line at TikTok.
We're
bro.
done here. Like,
I don't understand it, and I'm not gonna try
like
to.
my buddy Spee was telling me that they're favoring now old school shot regular like content. The whole vertical video thing.
it's out.
No, it's not out, but they're putting emphasis on just regular. I don't know why. And they're doing longer form. I think they're just trying to make it. They're trying to compete with YouTube. And honestly, there ain't no competing with YouTube. TikTok, go fuck yourself. You're a whole ass bitch, and I hate you.
Hey, wait. So I have a question. So
Yes, TikTok sucks.
So you said back in the day, when did My Hands to War actually start? Like, when's the first time you guys started playing music?
Okay, so original incarnation of My Hands to War, June or July of 2007. Myself and Todd are the two like original members, and then Evan used to play in Mammoth Caravan. The three of us got together, and I think we like our first practice we played like 2.5 songs. We had one song that Evan already had like recorded a demo of with no drums, and it's like, all right, cool. No, it was only going 15. No, but that's funny you mentioned that. Sorry. So there was the first song we ever wrote called "They Were Only Going 15." It's about Todd's family life. And then there was another song that didn't have a title for a while until we like played a show. But it was like a little bit faster, more thrashy, stuff like that. And then we had this joke breakdown song called "Bottles of Pizza." It's that would be like a whole other 3-hour conversation to even just like go into the context of that. But basically, we just had those 2.5 songs, and that's what we did for the first 2 practices. Then the next practice, we got our bass player, a guy named Earl Strasner. He went to college with Todd, and shout out to Earl. That dude's a monster, and I wish he played music still. I really do.
I mean, I love Cody.
Yeah, I know, I do too. But like Earl,
love the version of the band we are, but that dude was just on a different.
Earl at one point in our band played like a 6-string bass, and
oh my lord,
and he played more like lead stuff, like
fretless.
Yeah, he had a fretless Dean, he had a 6-string, he had a Rickenbacker at one point,
and he just stopped playing music.
Dude, like,
he had life happen.
Cold
turkey. Oh wow.
Yeah, it just went. I mean, like when people, some people when they quit our band, and then some people when they left the band, it was more like it was a very mutual thing, and some of it was kind of frustrating.
Or they hung themselves.
That's, you heard it here.
Jumping right into it.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's 7 years.
7 minutes. I passed the 10-minute mark.
It's 7 years old at this point. But so then like the band starts, we end up getting Earl, we write more songs, and then we play our first show. It's like, I want to say it's October 26th, 2007, and no, it's Soundstage. The only reason why I say that is because after we played, we opened this. It was like the 4-band show. We opened, and the only reason why I remember that specific date is because Saw 4 had just come out. So we all went to watch it at the movie theater in Conway. And Todd ended up showing up like 20 minutes into the movie because he had to stay and collect our money, which we made $25.
Whoa.
But you guys played a show and then went and saw that movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so sick. I talk about a double feature.
Yeah, exactly.
We've
Yeah.
done that a handful of times.
We have. We've especially after
the comeback show, Justin had passed away and Logan had just dropped.
Mm-hmm. So we all went to where did we go?
It was the Regal in the mall.
No, I know. Where did we go eat breakfast? Was it Pizza D's? Yeah, so the plan was,
maybe it was Pizza D's.
So originally when we did our comeback show in 2017, I Was Afraid was supposed to open it, and then they dropped, and I think they got on another show, and then we got Couch Jackets, which was like a psychedelic indie trip. That band was wild, but completely different from us, but we had already been friends with them when we were doing our other band, Lame Johnny. Yeah, we like any band that doesn't sound remotely close to us. We're like, we have to play shows with you. We have to.
Our show coming up is a DJ.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about we'll get to the chord. I was gonna ask why chord and jocks, but we can go through that later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
This show was a grander scale concept.
Yeah, than just an album release. But when we did the comeback show, and we had all discussed like the next morning we go eat breakfast at Pizza D's, and then we were gonna go to the North Little Rock Mall and watch Logan all together. And then but this was before Dustin had committed suicide. Like, and Dustin was in the whole, like, we had everything planned out. It was so meticulous. Then that happened. So like, we play the show. It's very emotional. Then we go eat at Pizza D's this next morning. We're like physically exhausted, mentally tired.
So wait, when did so he died? Like what?
4 days.
4 days before the show?
Before the comeback show. Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So
Hold on.
Kind of don't have.
But
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
And so y'all just like y'all still like played it?
Yeah, we didn't have a. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Well,
go ahead.
it kind of goes into you don't really have an option at that point because
Right.
we put so much into it, and we sold. I mean, we had pre-sold like 200 and something odd tickets, so it's like, well, there's just no way. And we had already had this deal where we weren't going to take this cut because we didn't know if it was going to keep going. It was like, well, we'll be back, but maybe we're not back. We don't know yet. So like, let's do this show and see how it goes. And so we're like, we're just going to not take the cut. And it was like this whole big thing. We're like, let's get the production going and like, let's make it something cool as fuck. It's like, here we are again. Don't think we forgot how to be cool kids, you know? And then it was just like, I remember the day he told me, was like, cried for a second, said a couple dark humor jokes, and then I was like, well, the rest of the band shows up for band practice, and we're like, I don't think we have a choice. Like, I just don't.
So what
I
did
think you have to
Dustin
do it.
What did he do in the band?
He was a guitar player.
Oh, okay. So y'all just who ended up filling in on guitar for the
Nobody.
Nobody.
Well, Justin has, I don't know if you know this, but he's a very crafty bastard. He's a very talented man.
Right.
So he had been a single guitarist many times in our history. So he's used to covering and like, here's where I'm going to put the nuance. Here's where I'm going to follow the rhythms. Like, and we're going to just build that. And like, I think that's why mine and his bond musically is so strong, because as a drummer, I'm filling in where he's going out and vice versa. And then we go back and forth on singing. So it's like, we kind of became this tag team duo because of things like people leaving or something having to step with. So we have to step up our game to fill that sound void, because, you know, the second guitar adds so much.
Right.
And so all we did was we had some candles, like a vigil, I guess you'd call it.
We had a we put the guitar that Dustin was using was Corey's Fender that he uses in Lame Johnny. We set it up. We set his cab up. We even plugged it in, turned on everything, and that we set the guitar on the cab. And then I had a shirt made because he and I lived in the same house together. I had a shirt made where he just had like shitty looking hair and a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And so I just had it put on a shirt a long time ago. We draped it under, like stuck it under the head and put it on the cab so it just draped on. And then, put some candles on top. So we just had his stuff there for the show. But it was just me playing guitar for the comeback show. Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, once
we crushed it, dude.
we fucking did. But I mean, like, we made like a video. Corey made it like a video, and then he and I did like a dialogue, conversation, all that stuff, and then we like had it on a projection, and that's how we started the show and had stuff going on in between songs or whatever. But like when that first note hit on that first song, like all the sadness just disappears, because like we're not right now. We're not here to be sad. We're here to play. Like we have a duty to uphold.
When we gave speeches like during the show, and I even like, I don't know why, but I was like, here comes the sad part. Yeah. Like I was holding it in. It's like, I don't want to say stuff, but then we did, and we had an hour and 10-minute set, right? And we had not rehearsed any kind of speech because we didn't think we were gonna. That was not part of the plan,
Right.
and so we went clearly off script, but. I have the show in its entirety on GoPro footage on my computer, and every practice we had, hour 10, like we had it down to the fucking minute, just boom, boom. When we played that set like fucking 20 times, grilling it into our brains so you just can't fuck it up, right?
Right.
And we played the whole set plus 5 speeches in 56 minutes. Yeah.
We do that a lot.
Oh wow.
Every band I've ever been in,
That's with the intro
with
and the false start.
and the false start, yeah. Even with every band I've ever been in with this dude has been like, when we write a song or we like record it or whatever, it's this tempo, whatever, and then something about just playing just gets us so excited that like a 5-minute song turns into a 3-minute song, and so and that leaves so much space in a set.
It's a drug.
It is. It really is.
Shinfo's last set, we played 7 songs and broke our entire shit because we only use our gear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of bah humbug when it comes to that sharing shit. I'm like, no, it's our shit, and then we leave. But the whole thing off the stage, 27 minutes.
Oh wow.
7 songs and all of our gear gone. Outside, back in the venue, 27 minutes.
Good Lord.
Yeah. I mean, we don't fuck around when it comes to that. I mean, even with My Insta War, we try to make it to where, like, yeah, we have a lot of shit, but it's like...
The most shit.
We have the most shit, but...
And we break it down.
Because that's just...
Throwing shit out the door. Get the fuck out of here.
It's not even like from an ego thing. It's just like, we want to get... we're here to do a job. Once the job's complete, let's chat. Let's hang out. Let's drink. Let's party. Let's do all this stuff.
It comes from me working production.
Yeah.
And just feeding that into their psyche too.
But
which is very smart. Robert's done the same with us, honestly.
Is it not effective?
It's so effective.
I've said on this pod many times that one of your band members should work at a venue for no less than 2 years. Like, you just learn so much because the road dogs you're hanging out with, they've seen every problem. They've have a solution for everything. And when you watch enough people do that shit, when things like break down, he doesn't do it as much anymore. Justin used to have a literal meltdown. Like a cable would snap off or something, and he would just be like, I'm done here. I think we should just stop playing music. Just like freaking out. He'll be like punching the fucking pedal board, and you're like, oh my God.
There are 2 specific instances where he's like, talking about where I like literally just had like brain just turned to egg.
Yeah. And I'm like, and it's like mid-song something, and I'm like, getting from behind the drum set because I can see he's like just frustrated as fuck. But it's embarrassing. We all know it is. It's so you get mad because you're like fuck, and we take it so personal. I miss one note in a whole set. That fucking set is dead to me. It makes me so angry.
Yes,
I shouldn't do this. I play these songs for a living, not for a living, but it is for a living. My mental living.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like. Why? How the fuck did I do that? Every time, you can ask Kurt. He sits beside me. He does his drum kit. He's back there hanging out. We're talking or whatever. Every time we get done, if I missed one note, hey, Kurt, please don't post that. Right? I've asked him many times to just be like, hey, I know you're doing drum cams, but like, can we not do that one? He posted the last one, but anyway.
I guess that's where being like really good friends kind of comes into play. You guys are able to, instead of being like, what's this guy doing? You're like, to go help him. I think that's very cool.
Well, and not only that, but
I'm just used to it, man.
Right.
I was a stagehand many venues. So.
Yeah, he worked at the Village when it was around for a very, very.
Bro, we could do a whole nother episode about that.
That's really funny you mentioned that. I was going to bring up whenever I first walked in. I was thinking about it on the way over here. It's like, have you ever done just like a solo pod about your days at the Village?
Oh man. I think I could do a series.
I think you could do a series. You got to get Blake, Michael, Matt, everybody, the crew,
the story, the through line. That's not a bad idea, dude.
It's not a bad idea.
Aaron Hurley. James.
Oh my God! If you got Aaron Hurley involved, or even, I know you.
That's a 5-hour podcast.
That's a 5-hour series. Coming this summer.
Maybe not this.
The Village Tales featuring Corey Fisher.
It'd be fun. I might do that.
Did y'all ever play a show there?
At the Village?
Yeah.
As My Insta War?
Yeah.
We used to get to have band practice there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, but because he worked production, like there was a small period of time where I'm not going to say who, there were a lot of people who were very frustrated that we got on big shows at the Village because Corey worked there and we knew the owner, Blake, at the time. But it's just Blake gave us shows because he was like, you guys would be a good fit. It wasn't because I worked. It wasn't because we worked there. It's because we put the time.
You earned it.
Yeah, we earned it. We put in the time and all that stuff. I remember I was thinking about this the other day. There's a show that we played that I always forget about because it was just so weird. But it was so we played with. I want to say there was another local. It was the Tristan Betrayal.
Oh,
They played after us, but it was the Handshake Murders when they were still around, and R.I.P. Jason Holmes, and then Bleeding Through.
Let's go. Wait, you guys open for Bleeding Through?
Here's the thing: there was no one at that show. No one came to that show. It was like probably 40 or 50 people. It wasn't a whole lot, but
I remember that show. It was a good show, actually.
It was like we played a great show. The show was killer. It was awesome, but there was just it was like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. It was one of those off days where no one came, and there wasn't a whole lot of promotion behind it. It wasn't like a last minute show, but the promoters just didn't do a good job at. I think that was an off date for Handshake Murders and Bleeding Through.
Everything is an off date for the Village. Most of it was.
Yeah, but we've opened up for Sky Eats Airplane there. One iteration of Sky Eats Airplane.
We actually were pretty decent friends with those guys by the time.
Yeah, and then there was the only show that Corey ever missed was Atreyu. We got to open for Atreyu.
I didn't.
Yeah, he had to go take care of some family stuff out of state. And that was actually Dustin's first show with us. Dustin filled in on my part on guitar, and then I had to. Some of those songs at that point I had never played on drums. Like I would help write them, but I never played them.
Oh, so
like,
you played drums in that?
I started out as the drummer in My Hands to War.
Tell him that bit. Yeah.
So when we started My Hands to War, I played drums. I had this big ass Mapex kit with like 4 toms, 7 cymbals. So much. It is
ISD rude cymbals too.
It was definitely one of the things that I look back on. It's like if I was in like a more traditional metal band, that would work. But in what we do is just it was too much, way too much.
He was doing all these flourishes. And
it was so stupid. It was so stupid. But then as we got more members and like we changed styles, so like when I moved to guitar, we were a 6-piece that played electronic style, like a la Attack. Like that old, like the 2009, 2010 electronic core.
It was like if you took Under Oath and Attack,
yeah,
and kind of like merged those two kind of sounds.
Yeah, like we had the synths and the keys, but we also played like
that's what they call an identity crisis.
Yeah, no shit. But we also played like off time stuff, like because that when we started out, we were very inspired by like From Autumn to Ashes, Every Time I Die, Fear Before the March of Chariot, Fear Before the March of Flames. We actually played a cover of one of my favorite songs by them, like when we first started out. But then early 2009, Evan left, and then I moved up front to guitar. And then originally we were going to have someone else just fill in, but then Cory was like about to move and go to Texas. And Todd somehow was just like, we were recording in Conway at the time, and that recording will never see the light of day because that computer crashed.
Oh, no.
Dude, it was. I was actually there for that part because they were borrowing my drum kit.
I was borrowing his old Truth kit.
And I was like, because like all my shit, I'm not lying, like it was all packed, which I always liked their guy. We played at a show together called Rhythm and Brews, and I was like, they're not good, but they have, like the heart is insane. You could tell, like there was something cool. And I really vibed with it, but just like they just don't know how to put it all together yet. And then, he was like, hey, can I borrow your drum kit? And I was like, oh, man, I don't know. I've like bushed the shit out. Like it's all ready. I was literally ready to go. And then we get there, and then Evan quit on the drive up to the studio. So it's like, well, that's wild. And so they're down there like figuring out how do we do this. And I was downstairs too. And I think it was Todd, wasn't it? He was like pointing at me to drum, and I was like, I don't know about that. So then I guess the agreement was I'll be an interim drummer because I had a show coming up until I leave or whatever. And then I don't know. We did 5 practices in his parents' old garage. I say old. It was probably new at the time. Newish. Mm-hmm. It was a very cool spot. His dad built like a drum riser in there and shit. It was dope. And so he's up there and he's lefty. So it's like watching a mirror. So everything's on the same side. So I would just mimic him. And I've never played anything in a time stage. Like I was a 4 on the floor, just little infant, stupid. I don't know. He's like, this one's in 3, whatever the fuck. And I'm like, huh? Just show the part. He still, to this day, he can't tell me what timing it's in because I'll just be like, that makes no sense. Just let me play to the music.
Yeah, no, so actually in the writing of and the finishing up of this album, funny enough that we're talking about, we just filmed that video for Abolish the Fact. We were working on that song in particular, and there's a section that's like, mostly 4, but there's like a 2/4 bar here and there. For him, it's just, he's like, I don't need to know the numbers. I need to know how that feels. So we, I'd play like the demo version, he'd play along with it and get his part down. And then we end up finding out that if we just let him discover a device for like naming how to count a part, we just let it go. And so me and him have been playing music together for so long. Like I'm like, hey man, this part's in 7, this part's in 5. He was like, I don't know what the fuck that means or what that feels like. Yeah. He's like, let me just get the part. And loop it. Just play it on. Yeah, and with like that's the blast part that's in track 5. Originally was a punk D beat. Cory doesn't know how to D beat. Oddly enough, Corey's been a drummer for a very long time, so I just had this very do-ga.
You know the beat.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
The
But it's just,
hardcore
but
beatdown beat.
yeah, but like the offbeat stuff for him, just like that, just it wouldn't click. So he was like, I'm gonna do something else. So we sat in the old shed in our old practice space for I think 2.5 to 3 hours playing the most complicated part on the album, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, back and forth. And then he just turns out he's just like, I'm just gonna do the most complex thing I can. And so he just blasts the whole fucking time.
Nice.
It was very stupid,
So
and I love it.
It's a sick part. It hits.
Mm-hmm.
so as far as the album Ursal Kingdom, I had 2 questions. So what does that title mean exactly?
Ursal Kingdom means, so kingdom is a word. Ursal is like ursine, like an adjective describing a bear.
Oh.
So like equine is for a horse, canine for dogs, stuff like that.
Oh, gotcha.
And so,
Smart.
yeah.
Nice.
But it also refers to, so in the, remember the thing that we talked about.
Yeah.
In the first song, the last line of the intro is "You'll fight with face of bear and come in last." Dustin really liked the band Horse the Band,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a song called "Face of Bear," and there's a line that he quoted quite frequently before his passing in that song that it always made him cry. It said, "I'll die with the honor that I choose. I'll fight with face of bear and lose."
Okay.
And so that was so originally this album was called Pulse Kingdom. And so Corey and I found the note the other day, or I found it in my email. I had it shifted to my email. I found the email where we were playing in a different band, and we played in Fayetteville at this place called the Backspace. Rest in peace, Backspace. That place ruled. It was like it was a metal sided trailer. It was so tight. But I have an email where I have every track listed out, and he and I spent like 2 hours before the show discussing what it was going to sound like. Like what does track P sound like? What does track U sound like? And all that stuff. Because it's also an acrostic, so it reads the same going across as it does going down.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so when you get the album, you'll see Ursal Kingdom. Every song starts with
Like
The first
URSALKING.
Oh, nice. That's so cool. So when did this? At what point did y'all start officially writing the songs from that?
So when we did our comeback in secret in 2015, we wrote the EP Isolation Blooms.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't even finished recording it before I started writing for it. Yeah, because originally, I think we were still tracking instruments. Like Corey had already tracked drums. I think I tracked my guitar and I tracked bass for it. I think while we were tracking bass, I was like, "Hey, I have an idea for an album." Originally, it was just going to be about this like a thematic concept, not a full concept, but just like a thematic through line of like how, bands talk about death a lot. It's just a common topic in art, period, and they kind of romanticize it and all this stuff. It's like, what if we just like really pull back and just like make each song about like a different iteration of like grief or struggle, and like make like not to give people an emotional overload, but it's just like let's talk about it. Let's open it up. Let's make this like a real tangible thing. And originally, when we spoke,
did we know?
yeah, when we spoke to Todd about it, Todd was like, he's like, I'm not comfortable writing that type of stuff. And so when that was brought up originally, like it was decided as a group, Corey and I would write this album by ourselves and record it all ourselves, and then just do something else with Todd as Minds to War later. Like Pulse Kingdom was going to be its own separate thing, a little microcosm of the band's career. That's just like an experiment. Then Dustin passes. And I think Loud Gasps, so yeah, track 5, and then I want to say I had like pieces of like 2 or 3 more. Once Dustin passed, Todd came with me back to the house. I needed to get some like clothes and stuff because we lived in the same house when it happened. So it was like that night. We get back to the house, we like walk in his room where it happened, and it's like, oh shit. It's like real heavy feeling. And like we let like his dog was in there, so we let it out. But Todd had asked, he was like, I know you said you were working on a song that Dustin's already read the lyrics to. would you be willing to show me? I was like, absolutely, which ended up being Insignias. So I play the song, I kind of pantomime the lyrics and what it's going to be, and we don't even get all the way through the song, and Todd stops. He's like, remember how I said I wasn't going to be involved with that album? He's like, I'm in.
Oh, nice.
He's like, I'm 100% in. He was like, if this is going to be the type of stuff we're talking about, he's like, this needs to be like the thing, the message. So we just kind of went from there. But I started writing it around like 2016-ish. The last song we wrote for it was actually the shortest one, the Never Was a Good Architect. That original version of the song was had He Is Legend vibes. And then there was like a southern part that Cory had written, like a breakdown. And then like we would keep trying to run it. It's just like, this just doesn't fit with the rest of the songs. So he was like, let's just do something different. And then he started doing, originally he was doing just like a surf.
It was like surf rock thing.
Yeah, you weren't doing the blast part, but you were doing this just like a tom roll, like do 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 do. It's very much like Wipeout type thing. And then I was like, oh shit, I could do like a surf rock, like just like a like just, but then we
have a music video for it.
Yeah, we have a music video for that as well. But then like when we finished it, it was like, all right, cool. It's like we have like a minute worth of music, and then we show everybody else at practice, and everyone else is like, that's it, that's the song. Like by the time the listener catches on and like gets a vibe for how the song sounds, it's done.
Nice.
And it plays into the title because like we didn't build a good song. We didn't build a good song with the original version because it was just 4 parts separated by open holdouts, which like is cool.
But it is a dope middle of the album.
Yeah, like it's very, because it comes right after Insignias too, and it flows right into it. So it's just very much like you have this very emotionally weighty song that goes through all these different movements. Then you have this just short ass burst of energy. It's like, yo, what the fuck just happened?
It's a good way to keep the listener engaged.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of crushed that part of it. I think like there's something for everybody on this album, I think.
So I love like how it sounds. I was so blown away by like how good it sounds. And then I looked up the mastering, like whenever you sent me the record, I looked up the mastering company. I was blown away about the who that they worked with, you know. And
they worked with so many people, yeah.
Like so many of your favorite bands and stuff. And so like, but one thing I was gonna ask that goes along with that. So where did y'all record the album and yeah.
So when the album came up and we're like, this is an album, like all that, they was like, okay, we're gonna do this. This is our new goal, which we've never had really. Like the EP kind of was a fluke, really. I'm surprised we actually ever made that fucking thing. The songs I like, we only play like 3 of them from it anymore anyway, 2 actually. So it didn't really stick, but we just were like, we already knew it has to be something better than we're capable of doing, right? So like that was the goal. It's like me and Justin were like, this is going to be a vinyl pressed record. This is going to have like a thing. This is going to have a show. We're doing all the stuff. If we're going to do it, fucking do it. We're going to spend all the fucking money. We don't care how much fucking money, and we spend all the fucking money. That's what it sounds like it does. But I'm not kidding you. I was talking to Nathan. So Nathan is the mixing engineer on that record. Nathan Close. Mm-hmm. Everybody use Nathan. He's an actual wizard.
Oh, I love Nathan.
So he was at the show last night, and that's great. That's why I want to say, because I was talking to him about it last night. He was like, it's just sonically so crazy. I was like, can you believe we made that in an office building, in a fucking empty room with a $200 HP all-in-one and a Focusrite i8? All those tones are legit. Nothing is backfilled. All the drums, there's no lifting involved. It's all for real. And we would send, I think this is important and more people should do it. Like we would get a tone and we would literally sit there for 2 hours with an amp and we would crank the mid like 0.1% and we'd go back and listen to like a part of a track and we'd be like, that's not really what I'm feeling. And then like certain songs had different tones. We'd completely rip that rig down and build a new rig. Very big band shit. It took 3 months just to record the guitars.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my
because we would we didn't practice. We would just, that's what we're doing. We're just making this record. And so we would bust it all down, get it, and then we would like, even parts we didn't like, we'd come back. We did a comeback part. It's like, you know, let's get everything in here that we all want because this is it. And going into that too, like even writing, I wanted to add that Justin wrote all of this. This is his brainchild. He wrote all the lyrics, all the guitar parts, but
Not all the lyrics.
most
Most of the lyrics.
Most, sorry.
But not all.
98%. Anyway. No, definitely
No,
98%.
no, Todd wrote a lot.
Okay. There's like a producerial role you need to take and like change up parts and be like, we came at every aspect from this is going to be a record, not just because used to we would just write songs willy nilly. You know, it's kind of like what you've seen Shinfo. It's like that. We don't care. There's just parts here, parts there. This part don't make no sense. We just throw it in. Who gives a shit?
It sounds cool.
Is it at 400 beats a minute? Perfect. You know, like so all that and like we practice, and then we recorded it. It's like the same level of this is going to be a record. We have to get this right. So we would send samples to Nathan, and he would be like, on my end, it sounds like this for this thing, and we'd like cool, and we'd switch it. We'd do it immediately, do another take, send it to him, like get a note back, okay, and then we'd send it to him. He's like, this sounds fucking great. So like that's the level we were operating at for all the pieces.
Wow.
Vocals took. I mean, dude, the amount of time we spent on the vocals on that thing is insane. Just grilling it. Nope. Justin got to a point where he would just spacebar delete. Like you don't even get to try. Like it's all real takes. Like if you start and it just any little thing was off, he'd be like, nope, and just hit delete. And we made each other mad, and we were getting in each other's faces sometimes, and it was just like, that's what you got to do though, to put something like that out. And then came all the other parts. We went to Dalton Kennerly's house from Levels.
Bella Vista, yeah.
We were the first band in his new studio, and we did the drums there. And we were tuning them, and Dalton's a drummer too, and me and him luckily have known each other for a while, so he's seen us live, you know, enough times to know this is how they operate. And I told him I want this sound to be like vintage modern, like think like old 70s, you know, John Bonham style big drums, but like with a modern flair on them. Not with a little less room noise, basically, is all I'm saying. Still boomy and punchy, but a little less like out in a distance sounding. And dude, literally, we sat there, me and him tuned him. Does that sound good? That sound good? Walks over to his thing, do a practice take. He hits play, and we were all like, "Damn, son!" And there was no chain on it or anything. Again, so like everything got that level of like, it needs to sound fucking awesome. Period. Before we record it, like it has to sound great before anything happens, because we don't want to there's so little after editing on this thing. It really is like all real, because we spent so much time like, and I know a lot of bands don't have that option. I can't believe we pulled it off, dude. If anyone's a bigger detractor from us actually finishing a record, it would be
it's our own selves.
Yeah,
100%.
But it took 5 years to put it out. Like we're not good at this kind of stuff, admittedly so, but we did it. and it took forever. Yeah.
I think that's cool. I think it's cool that you guys had the patience for both the art and for each other enough to be able to, like, you know, actually finish it. That takes one thing I've learned as being a musician is recording sucks and it's hard.
Mm-hmm. It's especially when you have the vision but you don't see the path that's from like tracking to finished product. Like you don't know what everything's going to sound like in between, and that's why like when we decided after we tracked Post Fulgurate with Nathan, we were like, you're doing the album, and he was like, we barely knew the guy. We had him from recommendation from, he had done Past Comfort stuff, and I think he done Go for Gold. So we were like, well, this guy's mixes sound great. Like we can't believe like there's someone like that here, just like in state and all that stuff. But the patience part is huge. Pandemic played a huge role in it, obviously. Played a role in everybody's stuff here. And then my accident put us back for a little bit. But I don't think it was long enough for us to detract from finishing the album, because once I got better and I was able to like stand up and perform. Like we did the Halloween live stream. It was like that was like 5 months after my wreck.
His first few practices back were like in a wheelchair.
I was still in a wheelchair.
When was your wreck?
May of 2020.
Okay.
The end of May, and then like
So like right after COVID.
The day before Lame Johnny was gonna go record.
Yep.
Another.
We had a My Hands to War practice on like an off day the day before. Then my wreck happened. Then we were gonna go track 3 songs.
The follow up to the.
Yeah.
So how long was that from that May of 2020 until you were practicing in a wheelchair?
This was like 2 months.
Oh my Lord,
But
that's
I mean,
crazy.
but I was still like, I still had like my.
He still had casts and shit on.
Yeah.
Yo, that's so awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's.
Were y'all recording or was it just practice?
No, we were just practicing. We had just moved into our most recent, not the one we have now, but the most recent practice space. They had just moved in there.
Oh wow.
Had like 50,000
Yeah.
to just do whatever.
Yeah. It just had to be after operating hours.
Yeah, it was sick, dude.
Huh.
It rocked.
So, as far as like the release of the album, like why now? Is it like is there? I mean, I kind of know the answer, but
Yeah. It was, we've had the album done since what 2022. And so our inactivity, I think about this on the ride over here, our inactivity in 2023, other than playing the Punks for Pause show, was not actually intentional. It's Lame Johnny and Shimfo got a lot of invites to play shows, and that puts times off for My Hands to War because everybody in My Hands to War is also in Shimfo, and then 3 of us are in Lame Johnny.
right.
So you play a bunch of those shows, and it just kind of is like, well, we got to practice for this show and all that stuff, and then just we're older. Life, we have personal stuff that goes on. Cory's running this podcast every week, and he's at shows at Vino's and all that stuff all that time. So
I don't see how you do it, bro.
I don't either.
I was thinking about you and your schedule. I'm like, how the heck does this guy do this?
It's so the word schedule, that's not it. That's just life for Cory.
He helps me a lot.
Me too.
Yeah, but I mean, it felt right now. Like we talked about it at the end of 2023, and it's like what does the album release look like? And then we had a band. Was it the beginning of this year, or like the very?
It was like right at the end. Yeah. We'll
Oh no.
January.
Well, no, it had to have been December because it was after Dad passed.
Yeah.
But we had a sit down meeting at Vino's, all 5 of us, and it was just like, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, you were there, yeah,
Oh, really? Is
Yeah,
that
no.
what y'all were discussing?
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
like
wow.
literally after you and Robert left is when we all moved over to that table and started talking about this.
Like I booked the show right after y'all left.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
while we were waiting on everyone to show up, Cory's like, I'm gonna go talk to Mark. He's like, I'm gonna go talk to Mark and see what dates are available for the spring. And we're like, perfect. Because what we've always wanted to do like a spring, early summer type show, because that's when you can get the most people in there because the weather's nice, everything. And then everyone else shows up. Cory walks around to the other side of the table, sits down. He just goes, all right. He's like, so what about April 6th? We're all like, yeah, like that all works for us. And then we didn't even think about the eclipse.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't.
Not in our mind.
Boy, that is
Dude,
good
so
booking.
it's a perfect time to mention this on the podcast. So an old friend of mine from high school, his younger brother he's been a supporter of My Hands to War for a very long time, Tyler McAnally. So he messages me and he gets some tickets for the show. So here's how like kismet everything is. Like I'm not religious or spiritual, but I believe that there's an energy that exists in the universe. So my parents' 44th anniversary would be on the 4th, April 4th. We're playing the show on the 6th. Eclipse is the 8th. Tyler's birthday is the 11th.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like this is, like I said, completely unplanned. It's just this is the easiest available Saturday. And we were just like, yeah, that just works. And then like as time progresses, we're like, there's all this other stuff that just happens to be coinciding around it, and we're just like, this is kind of, it makes me feel a lot more secure that like this was the perfect date to do it.
Right.
Heck yeah, it is.
And then I mean I know you had a question about Cord and Jocks.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I mean, you don't have to divulge all the information you don't want to, but my question, I guess, is like, so when you guys sat down and had that meeting, when did the conversation was like, because I know that you're a big fan of like Zash and stuff, so like I guess I would have when you, I remember you telling me that y'all were playing. I assume
You would think it would be a full bill.
So tell me about how this bill
Yes.
came together.
So this is what we talked about earlier. I work alone. I have a lot of fucking free time in my brain. And all I do is like listen to podcasts. I think I might have given myself some sort of disorder because I have to have people talking to me 24/7 or it just feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like I don't know what the hell that is, but I've done something to myself. I've broken my brain. But I'm sitting around one day, this was a few years ago, like 2-ish, maybe 2.5 years ago. I'm at work and I'm just like, you know, I'm always thinking, like Kurt's always messaging people, hey, do you want to do this idea? Do you want to do that? Like the cover show came out of Kurt's head, like, hey, let's do this cool thing. Okay. And so I kind of operate like that too, where I'm always having these ideas, especially for shows, especially when it comes to production value.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good production. It's more my favorite thing is to focus on how can we mesmerize people. And I had this idea, like, what if we did a release show that's not a show? It's like an event where it's not necessarily you're coming to see one or the other, or because if you do a band, you're always going to have people that are there just for that band, and I'm sure we're going to have some of that for Cord, but this is such a different thing where it's like I want people to experience this record for real, because the way we wrote these songs was in mind for this record. So the way the album plays live is the record. That's just how it is. Like we designed it all. It wasn't like we just did it and now we found these new parts that we like better. Like we haven't changed a fucking thing since we started writing them. And once we solidified them, like that's it. And that's evident in our older stuff because I change shit on those things all the time because they're just toss around songs at this point. But I'm like, let's do. So like, here's the concept: is it's not us and Cord and Jocks, it's us and Cord and Jocks. He's basically like an unofficial sixth member of the evening.
Oh, wow.
Like he's having practice with us. We're going over all these different changes. The first one's this week, actually. Yeah. So he's brought in. We sent him the record, and he's got these samples built. And so it's like it's a thing. It's not just you're going to listen to us and you're going to listen to him, and then we're going to come back because we're both doing 2 sets, is what the flyer says. And
right.
We are, but it's 2 melded things. Oh, yeah, wow. It's like it's far more like abstract than you.
So
you
will
really
you be behind the kid when he's doing his thing, or like how does that go?
Absolutely. Work? Yeah, we'll be playing and he'll be playing with us, but he'll be. There's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Think of like not a spaceship, but kind of spaceship vibes. Like we're gonna put a lot of things. It's not interactive per se. I mean, you can be interactive. Like, there's crowd surfing. People can hold up lights. There's a lot of slower songs. There's 3 in particular that are like
pull out your lighter.
Like pull out your lighter, or cell phone, and it's like those kind of moments. So like, and that'll probably happen, I'm sure, because those things tend to just happen on their own. But the grand scale of it, and then we started going. It's always been. The release show for 2 years now has always been us and a DJ. And I had Cord and Jocks on my podcast many, many years ago. He's one of the first guests.
Really?
Uh-huh. Found him on Instagram or some shit. And I was like, this dude fucking rules. Had him on, and I've been in love with his sound ever since. And I always knew I wanted to do something. So, like, that was the first guy we thought of, and it's the guy we approached. And he was like, so going back to the serendipitousness of it all, like he said yes immediately. There wasn't even like a second thought. We didn't have to talk him into it. He was just like, I want to be a part of this.
So cool.
It's been a grand scale concept for a long time.
Wow.
Well, what if we did it like this? Well, what if we had that? Well, what if we, like.
So, one thing I've been really excited to talk to y'all about is the record is like so explain to me I'm 5 about the ticket, the record, what you get, and like what you expect as far as that goes.
That was finally discussed when we had that meeting. Is like getting all the logistics down. I mean, I've out of everything that I've ever done as a musician, the only thing I've never done is had a vinyl press.
That's it.
like having a cassette or a CD at this point, that's kind of novelty. But vinyls are what's in still.
Turning the merch gods, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Man,
like
Caravan, they got a little bit of everything.
y'all got fucking saw blade
They got
shit, man.
pedals. I can't believe you didn't bring none of your hot sauce for us to try.
Bro, we've been working on some other crazy things too.
This fucking guy.
Is this like an off pod conversation?
I'll just say it involves shower tiles, and that's all I'm allowed to divulge.
Motherfucker, you're talking to the shower tile god, dude. No
You're
way.
gonna love this. It's
that's we'll have to go over that off pod.
none
That's
of this
awesome.
is my idea. It's
Well, it doesn't matter.
If I get to tile their tile into backsplash,
That would be so
I'm
sick.
gonna be fucking-
Game
Shout out
over.
Robert Warner.
That dude's
but yes.
brain operates on a different shit.
It really does. To answer your question though, so yeah, pressing the vinyl. We've always wanted to have that, and this is like the perfect album for us. There's a perfect piece of media in anything that we've done that like deserves it the way that it's being done. So we thought, all right, if it's just us and one other act, what do we do to make it like more eventful? Because if we're just playing the album, it's 40 something minutes, and then if Cory and Justin plays like 30 minutes of stuff, that's only like an hour, 15-minute show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if we made this stupid decision to be like, what if we played 2 sets? And then we're like, what if Cory and Justin also plays 2 sets? And it's like, okay, how do you sell that? Because we have always been a band that's like our comeback show with couch jackets at Rev Room, $3.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's because we took our cut away.
Yeah, it's like we wanted couch jackets to get paid, and then we wanted Rev Room to get the rest, and then whatever.
We asked them what their percentage was.
Exactly.
It worked out
Yeah,
to.
and then it ended up being that we gave. Was it the entire cut?
They heard what happened,
Yeah,
and they
and we gave.
forfeited the building. They paid the staff out of their own pocket.
Mm-hmm. And when we gave the
Are you talking about Reverend did?
yeah
And
Oh,
then we
wow.
gave all of the door
To his
Justin's
family.
parents.
yeah
They'll pay for the funeral.
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's such a good thing.
He's
Well,
the
it's-
only member of this band that ever made any money.
That's what I'm saying. He made a lot of money.
Dickhead.
He made a lot of money that day.
Yeah, he did.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
But
We're seeing it like, damn.
yeah, what's like they heard about it and they're like, we're willing to give you the cut, and we initially turned it down. We said no, and they said we're like, you cannot refuse. We're leaving this here. You're taking it and you're doing that thing, and that's it. And we were just like,
It was cool.
okay,
Stand
So,
above 'em. I
yep.
have my issues with that place.
that was huge. But so then we decided, like, we've always done like $5, $10 shows max, because we're not in it for money. If we were in it for money, we would have marketed ourselves a completely different way a long time ago.
We wouldn't be giving you a vinyl record and a show for $25.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like how do we sell this by making it the most cost effective it can be? It's like, well, and originally we talked about 20, and I think 20 would be a fair price, but for 25 you get.
We were going to lose money, though.
Yeah.
We were going to have to come out of pocket.
If we did 25, we would break even, or potentially even make a little bit, which like that's not the important part.
And after shipping, I actually have crunched all the numbers. I don't know that we're going to still
Make money. I think we'll still
I
probably
think-
lose money,
I
and
think-
that's okay. Like we
It won't
don't.
be as much as if we did 20 though, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
we said. 20. Like when we left that room, it was a $20 show. Because I'm just sitting there going over the cost in my mind, like this, that, and he's like a math wizard, so be like, Justin, what's this and that? And I was doing these calculations, like that might work. When I went home and I just kept thinking about it, so I got a calculator out and started going over the real numbers, and I was like, it can't be 20. Like we'll be out of fucking $1,000 if we do 20. We can't do that. Yeah.
But if we did 25,
Right.
it covers everything. Like we pay Cory and Justin, we pay Vinos,
Right.
and then we also press the vinyl.
And not to boast, but we always pay the like the sound guy more. Like I always slide them more money, just to be, you want
Right.
to have friends in this business.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to have enemies doing
Yeah.
that type of stuff. But so the 20. I mean, but like you're getting 2 one-of-one shows. So like you're having. So Cory and Justin, like he doesn't write songs; he just makes beats.
Right.
Right.
And does samples and all that. He's a beat guy. So like for this show specifically, he has 2 sets of like heavier, grimier style beats that he wants to do. And he was like, I would love to do this. And Jordan and I have actually known each other a lot longer than whenever, because I talked to him recently, like we were just going over stuff about the show. He wanted me to give him like the full rundown of what we were doing and everything. Turns out that motherfucker booked tiny moving parts and there's another like a math like old math rock, like emo math rock bands at this old place that used to be around called the Main Squeeze, and like there were like 2 other shows that I went and saw there, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I booked those shows.
Oh wow.
So
that's cool.
yeah, Jordan's been involved in like the underground house show emo scene for a long time before
he
he's
gets it.
before he started even doing the beats and all that stuff. It's just like that's just more in his nature. That's just what he just vibes with more. And so he was like this. He's like, this is perfect because he was like, he's like, I really liked you guys, and he was like, I would love to do something real special. And like at the end of the day, you would think it'd be like Minds to War, Zashed, and then like
It'd be all it'd be all our buddy bands.
yeah, all that stuff. But it's just like it just work to me. It just feels better if it's
probably try to pull someone from the dead and to get back.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's always been about the record. So it's like literally, dude. It's so weird because a lot of it was unintentional. But I know how my mind works. When I get fixated on something, I can't stop until it's just a complete thing. And it's like the show is just as much that thought process as the whole time. It's writing the songs and producing Justin and like actually pissing people off. Like, yo, this part is not good. Like, we need to drop it, and it works. Like, and then we tried and like, and everybody in this band has an understanding that like, you have to say it, you have to get it out. Like, whatever it is, if you don't like it, you have to say it. I think Shinvo, we even have like a veto. Like, if one person isn't kosher, it's just like, toss it. Who cares? It keeps the peace and it makes the songs, honestly, I think better. Really, producing yourself is tough, but being hard on it is tougher. But I think you get a better product out of it. It's just personally speaking. But to go back to that, everything fits into that narrative. So like the show has to be about the record. It's not even about us really, because it became not about us when Dustin passed away. It was 7 years ago, like a week ago. And it feels like minutes have passed, you know?
Because you said y'all don't really play a lot of those songs live anymore.
Well, so what's weird is we wrote this EP, and I'm just going to fucking, no, it's no surprise. Dustin had addiction issues, and he was experiencing a kind of a rev up, right? Like, is that what you'd call it? Like a high point during the EP cycle. I remember the last time I ever saw him face to face, he was apologizing because he thought he did bad or something. It was like, he absolutely killed it. He didn't even get to see the video.
No.
So we put out a music video, and he's like probably one of the better parts of it. And it's just like, dude. And so there's songs even on that EP, like Existing Between Dimensions, when we were playing that show. It was after the speeches, and like me and you through a lot of that song.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just back there bawling my eyes out, like uncontrollable fucking tears coming out. I'm singing, but I'm cry singing. Like, I can't imagine what it sounded like.
It still sounded fine.
So I was like,
give it more emotion.
Yeah. And so it was like, I took a photo. I still look at it from time to time of like all the faces, and every face is just kind of like, man, this is kind of a bummer. But like, so it's like it sucks. It sucks that like haunts us.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
Yeah, it sucks that it's haunted us this long, and I think that is the driving force subconsciously, is we want to do it right, and we want to get this out of our life. I think there's really going to be. I think when we kick that door open after that album is played, I think there's going to be a different set of humans on the other side of that door. Yeah,
Fact.
I think.
That's so cool.
I think it's so much. God damn, I'm trying to word it without fucking getting emotional, but fuck.
This ain't your podcast today.
Damn, it just sucks.
I think that, you talk about the decision to do it the way that you guys did it. I think honestly it's really smart, given the emotional weight of this record. I think as a listener, like, I know that I think that watching an album be played live, and then you get to go home, like, eventually, like, when you get the record, you get to like listen to it, and you'll remember that over and over. It's like a time machine kind of thing,
Right.
And I think, I think that's really cool. I think it's smart that you guys are really, doing it the way you're doing it.
I think that's probably like that was an unconscious choice too. It's like we want people to remember this album, not because it's the 5 of us. It's because it's about our friend. Like
it truly is like a memorial.
Yeah.
Like, I probably shouldn't speak about certain parts, but it's like parts of it were more fucked up than you could ever imagine, and it's just like, dude, you live with that, and like every time we play these songs, you relive these moments over and over and over, and it'll be good to finally let all of this out like a bomb. It's just, and it's like, so I think it has to be the way it is, not for whatever reason, you know, whatever, call it whatever you want, but you know, I think about it constantly. It's haunted both of us, I know, for years and years, trying to figure out how to make it exactly what it should be. Because, like, more than we can all sit here and stroke on Dustin's ego and be like, you know, he made us who we are today, but he was like at the end of the day, we don't get many humans like him. He was special for different reasons, more than just being hyper talented. And that shit just sticks with you, and you know, the lyrics in the song Abolish, it's like, you'll never get the why. It's like, we don't get the why. We just have the what we have, you know, even so, like, that's kind of it. We're just stuck with that. And I think this has been maybe intentional. Maybe the universe did it intentionally so we can have this moment, you know? I like to think that that's probably true.
If you had asked us, if you'd asked us this probably 2 or 3 years ago before we started recording, we'd probably have a different answer. But once we finished recording,
I think 2 or 3 years ago, it would have been like, it'll be out in a month. We're just gonna drop it, like, because that's kind of our whole thing is just
get it out, move
just
on to the next thing.
That way we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, but yeah, to echo his sentiment, I think really it's just like this has to be the time. This just has to be it. If we did it any sooner, I feel like it would be a disservice to us, and then if we did it later, it would be a disservice to him. Like, it's already a disservice to him because we've waited so long to do it.
But I'm saying, I think all that is also,
it's circumstantial as well. It's just
the pandemic was a large part, but
we had a lot of things planned, and it kind of got screwed. And by kind of got screwed, I mean it got totally fucked. But
that's why we did the live streams instead.
Yeah, I mean, like, but I think we've navigated through it as best as we can without losing ourselves, which is the most important part, at least to me, for sure.
Keeping it together, like staying together as a band through all the shit.
I mean, there have been a few instances where me and him have just been like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it anymore. But then,
it's that big of a headache.
But then we also, when we get back in the room and we start playing these songs, we're like,
it's the second it starts.
It is
so fucking insane. You know what it's like.
Oh yeah.
How about this? I just thought of this. Unfortunate magic.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, you're roped in and you're just like, fuck. But it's like you are. It's not a oh, I just need to do this and get through it. It's a compulsion. Yeah. It's like, I have to do this. Yes, yeah. It is an energy. There's a special type of thing that just happens when we're in the room together that it cannot be replicated. It hasn't been You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
So
de-stressing. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
You know, I was gonna say, like, I don't know what tuning you guys use, but like, in basically any tuning and like music's only like what 12, basically
12 notes,
12 notes, 24 notes or whatever. And so like it's very much like magic, you know, whether you're using E standard or drop C or whatever, like,
or in drop C,
you know, everybody like sort of, you know, I mean, so many bands have been in that same tuning, so it's just so funny how it works. Like you find what the notes that make you happy, and then he's able to figure it out and like all of that and stuff. So I think it's cool that you guys have that, like, discovered that magic together.
And I think, well, it's the playing in drop C. So when we first started the band, we were in D flat, so just like it'd be like a half step above. And then when Dustin actually joined, we were in drop B. He liked playing in B for like his heavier stuff that he would just write on his side. And then I bring this up every so often, but like for like a week we were in drop B flat, and we were like, this sounds cool, but it's too low. And then we were, when we broke up, I think we were still in B. Then when we got back together, he and I were already doing Lame Johnny and Shinfo, and Lame Johnny plays in D standard, and then Shinfo plays in drop C. And so I would just pick up his guitar, and it was already in drop C. It was like, let's play My Hands to War riffs and Like when we in between 2012 and 2015, like we would try to play My Hands to War songs. It wouldn't click.
Make a song.
We'd get halfway through. We're like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing here.
Yeah.
Like we didn't listen to our own shit or anything. So like we had no idea. We're like, we don't know what these songs sound like anymore. Then when we got back to when he and I met in secret, and
it's weird. It's hibbity dibbity shit.
Yeah.
But we both had dreams
about
that night about doing it again, and he goes, "Man, I had a dream last night." And I was like, "Whoa, I had a dream last night."
It was the same dream.
It was the same dream.
Whoa!
Yes.
Same dream about what was eventually the comeback show, about what that looked like.
Oh wow!
I mean, obviously, with another person on stage, but like at Rev Room with a huge crowd of people. Yeah, we had this. So we both had this dream. We talked about it, and Cory was like, he's like, "Here's the deal, man." He was like, "Let's go out to your parents' old shed where we like first practiced and all that stuff. See if it actually clicks, because we tried this before and it just didn't work." And so he brings out a drum kit. He forgot his drum throne, so he had to use my dad's cooler as a throne, which is hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. I brought out like an old practice amp, and I had his Schecter Blackjack and the guitar pedal board and all that stuff. And it's like, all right, let's try.
Cobble this together.
Let's try this song because it's probably one of the easier ones. And then we nail it.
We played 5 tracks in a row.
We played 5 tracks in a row.
Let's play this one. Boom, came right back. Let's do this one.
And it was like,
we wrote 3 songs, right? Or 2.5.
Yeah, we wrote what became "You Don't Deserve This at All."
That was the first thing we did.
First thing we it's somewhere in my parents' house still, but I have it like tabbed out like on hand by paper. Yeah. I don't know where it is. But originally it was titled, I've made this joke before, it was originally titled "But Fuck the Worm." I obviously didn't keep. But and then working title. Then we wrote part of what became the Constant Unnerving. We didn't finish it, and then we had the whole structure planned but didn't track it for the long song, Existing Between Dimensions. Like we knew exactly how we wanted it to sound.
Like those clicks in there?
The clicks and like the clean guitar.
That's a clock.
It's supposed to be a clock.
Time ticking by.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like he does it on the rims, but that's what it's supposed to represent. Yeah.
But that's the point I forgot to make because I started crying. I've cried a lot in the last. Dude, getting 40 is a bitch. Those songs, we were subconsciously writing these songs about him already. Because when you go back and look at even the lyrical content, which we had there was no bad blood. There was no. I mean, we were worried about him, sure, but because he was really revved up at that point, and then you go back and you listen to like Existing Between Dimensions and stuff, and like that comeback show. This is the last time we ever played that song ever.
Oh, wow.
I tried one time at practice, and I was like, I can't do it.
Huh.
Too tough.
We talked about bringing it back for this one, but we were just like we ended up all agreeing, just like no.
Well, so the album set's gonna be emotional as fuck, and that next set is party time, baby. Like I'm gonna be beer sipping. I'm gonna be throwing shit. I'm gonna be 20 that night.
I think like we've all kind of. I mean, we ran both sets for the first time last week, and like we can do it. It's gonna be rough, but we can do it. So we're starting to build up our endurance, all that stuff. But like we realize that it's like when we play the album set, no jokes. Like normally Todd does his snail joke and we goof around on stage and say a bunch of dumb shit. But it's like for those 40 some odd minutes we're up there for the album, it's the most serious we're ever gonna be. For sure. And just ride with us until that's done. And then we play a set of the old hits, some old secrets. We're bringing back stuff since like before Cory was in the band.
Retooled it, and honestly,
yeah, it sounds tight as fuck.
Pretty fucking rules.
Yeah, there's one song we brought back that we didn't think we were going to bring back, and no, it's not "Hey, Hit the Brakes," but it's another old song that we were just like, we don't know, and then we played it. We're like, no, this song still kind of fucks. It fucks hard.
The problem is Justin loves. I don't know why ballads. He likes writing 4-minute fucking long songs, 5-minute long song. We're like touching 5 minutes. And like we're going through these songs and I'm like, this is the third 5-minute fucking song in a row. can I please have a goddamn minute to just decompress? I don't know, dude. So we did it, and my watch was keeping track of everything, and it was it was 99 minutes. And I'm like, we have to get that down because we were taking breaks. And you know, live it's like it's like fuck, it's all by the number. You can't, you know. No, we even have like on our whiteboard, we even have like sample here, talk here. Like it's not gonna be Chad just going, what'd y'all have for breakfast today? You know, like playing on the omelet video, which he just made that post. I was like, whatever, dude.
Yes, that was so funny. Hey, wait, I've been to ask. So, how did the omelet? Tell me the story about the omelet thing.
That was actually
because
it was already gonna happen. We're playing in a kitchen, and we're my hands to war, and we have a person named Todd Weber in our band. And
I mean, that's really the only answer you need.
There's one thing about Todd, fundamentally speaking. Todd, I love you. I mean, I love him, and he makes me the maddest of all the people in this world. But there's undeniable probability that if he's around something while we're playing, he's going to touch it, or fuck with it, or climb on it, or do something, or put it in the crowd. It's just in his nature. He's like a little fucking spider monkey. And so we knew if we play here, he's going to use the kitchen. Like, and so there was like hot dog was the first one I think Cody brought up. And then we did something else. And then was it even our idea? Was it Will's idea?
So yeah, originally it was Todd's idea was I want to cook a hot dog in the microwave and then give it.
That's what it was, hot dog in the microwave.
He was like going to have ketchup and mustard out already, yeah, all that stuff. And so he does it, and then it was just, what if you cook an egg, just an egg, and he made a full fucking and then he decided right before we played that show, he did not tell us. We knew he was going to cook the egg. He decides, he's like, Will, do you got any cheese? You got any salt and pepper? So he just decided to make the omelet and hand it to Cassidy.
Like, I still think that's the better video. It's in the comments of that video. I put it in there. I think that's the better video. She is sitting in the middle of a circle pit in a house eating a freshly made omelet. That video rules. And ours is sort of like, it's kind of grainy. It's from a cell phone. It's like, you know, a few years back. It's just like, it's fine, but the other video is far superior.
What year did that happen?
2020.
Oh, wow.
It was right
weeks before.
So like we played with Norma Jean at a house show.
Oh, it was the Norma Jean part of the Norma Jean house tour.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
We played that show, and then we filmed like the Brett's the one who took the video from like Cory and Todd cooking the omelet. He films it and he just posts up on Facebook because he thinks it's funny. And then we're
with Kurt. We're going to Memphis.
We're playing the next day with Honore. No, sorry, that wasn't Norma Jean. Norma Jean was later that month. It was us, Honore, and Pedal Weather.
It was a trade show.
Yeah, it was a trade show. So like Honore played with us, then we go play in Memphis with Honore. Yeah. We're on our way to Memphis. We're not even 30 minutes on the interstate, and Brett messaged me, and he's like, dude, he's like that omelet video that I took of you guys last night during Insignias is like, it's already got like 100 views. We're like, oh shit, that's awesome. It was only 10 minutes ago. And then he messaged me back like 45 minutes later. He's like, dude, this video's at 40,000 views.
Oh my God.
And then by the time we got to Memphis, when we parked behind the High Tone, before we started walking around and going and doing other stuff, we were at 120,000 views. And it just, every 15 minutes, he would just update me. He's like 145,000, 200,000, 300,000.
Kurt was in the car with us, and he would just pull his phone. Another number would pop up. What the fuck?
Yeah. It was nuts. It was absolutely insane.
It's unfortunate because we didn't have anything to promote. This is like, that's the one thing we probably missed a huge wake on.
Yeah, we weren't even finished writing the album. I think we had like only 5 of the songs written at that point.
But we absolutely still have fans global because of that video.
We have still talk to him. There's a guy named Marcus from Germany that we speak to every so. Mm-hmm.
So
shout out to him.
Are y'all dropping the album? I mean, I know this might be a dumb question, but are y'all dropping Ursal Kingdom on like Spotify around the same time?
The day before. Day before the show. 24 hours before the show.
You'll have it in your possession.
Yeah, you'll have it to listen to. All the lyrics are going to be on it. All that stuff.
So I think that they having those fans from that video is perfect because now you've got people that are going to be super duper stoked. You know, like I think it's so funny how the Spotify thing and stuff like works now. You know,
well, just going piggybacking off his thing, it's like playing to the Spotify algorithm and the TikTok algorithm.
I could give 10 pounds.
That's why you don't see us always doing stuff, even with Shinfo or Lame Johnny. It's just like me and him specifically have been very vocal. We don't care.
Lame Johnny will never.
No,
because I truly believe they're fucking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With my whole ass heart, and I'll say it with my whole ass chest. Fuck those people. Fuck that business. Fuck that whole model. It ruined the music industry.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah,
not
I
first.
agree.
Still get a chance, but a chance at what? Fucking poor.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that shit at home, bitch.
Yeah.
I don't need your $6,000 fucking dollars. First off, I live in poverty damn near. $6,000 ain't shit. That ain't gonna get you nothing. Split that 5 ways. Cool, man. Well, you made $700 fucking dollars.
You had enough to pay your bills for 1 month.
You know, for the year.
And it's so funny because people put so much
Because you have to. If you want label, they only look at 2 things. Your Spotify and your TikTok. There's a guy, Bacon Bits, on Instagram. This dude is like plugged in. I follow him. And you're just like, this is where it's at. He follows the trends, and then he just tells everybody about it. He's super locked in. He works for like 5 different labels, and he's like, this is what I look for. He's an A&R rep. This is what we look for. This is what we look at. And this is the 2 things this is what we care about. And it's just like, dude, and why is the fucking label? They ain't making shit either. Think about that. If you're a medium-sized label and your band's getting, you know, what are you making? Fucking couple tens of thousands a year? Like, that doesn't seem like a lot, especially versus physical sales. But there's no more physical media. It's like literally there's already 2 outlets that have completely taken it out of their stores.
It's like I remember Best Buy. That's the one that gutted me because like I used to love going to Best Buy
Games
and
and all,
buying
man.
like you could buy death metal, you could buy like whatever, and like they would have it, you know. And like FYE is the same thing.
And it'll be a thing where we'll go down this road, and then in a couple years there'll be like these pop-ups where it's like, oh, they're doing a music store again. Oh shit, and it'll be popular for a while. I mean, it's inevitable that all this goes away and it's just some digital fucking garbage. Because even AI is going to be like, I want to hear a new Queen song, and it's just going to shit one out in real time, and it'll be perfect. It'll be everything you ever wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And we're like 2 years away from that.
It's scary, right?
It's
Oh,
like
speaking
AI
of
as a tool is fucking awesome. Don't get me wrong.
AI as an artist is horrible.
But the problem is all the fucking people who say that they're like artists are the ones creating the shit that's then going to take every artist's real job.
Yeah,
like-
like
A fucking graphic designer at this point, if you don't want one, you don't have to have one. You can
Right.
just type that shit into a thing and it shits it right the fuck out.
shout out Kerry King and
It's
DSI.
crazy, dude. Yeah, I mean, we shout out Nat, who did all of our designs. Our shirt, what was it?
Yeah, Nat Lacuna
Now from Holy Ghost.
from Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir. I've been following them for a while, and I know that they do a lot of the shirt designs for the Callous Cowboys, and they're all hilarious. So as soon as we start talking about we need flyers, originally we were just going to do one shirt design, which like exclusive shirts. But yeah, Nat crushed them on the designs. They're awesome. And then like the flyer that's over there is actually a variant of the original one we posted. Because the one we posted was the black with like the
That's so
purple,
cool.
yellow, and blue. Yeah, no. Whenever,
It didn't print well.
but whenever they sent that one as like a backup, I was like, we want another one involving like the album colors. And then Cory and I were like, we're gonna do something special with that. And that shit rocks. I mean, both the flyers rock. Don't get me wrong, but that one fucking rules.
I'm gonna have that on a thick cardstock and record. I bought 2 records for myself, and one of them I'm gonna spray paint gold, and
So
I'm gonna put it in a gold plat. You
When
can't
do
tell
y'all
me.
expect the records to like be here?
So we're using
physically?
a small batch company, so it's not gonna be this like year-long debacle. The maximum they do is like 500.
Mhm.
So the turnaround, you get
6
your
to 8
masters. It's 6 to 8 weeks after you approve the master.
Oh, nice.
So it should take less than 3 months.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the whole goal is like if we sell out of all of our tickets, we can go ahead and put the vinyl in order right now if we had the
We're
money.
getting there.
Yeah.
We're pushing
pushing ticket
Pushing
sales
real
pretty
numbers.
quick.
I
Which
sold 10 yesterday.
Let's go.
buy some tickets so you can get your vinyls faster.
Hopefully
It's not.
by the time they hear this shit, they ain't no tickets left to sell.
Yeah, that's
They
right.
better not be,
Hopefully.
sons of bitches.
And the thing, I think that this is a show that like you guys deserve it. You know, you guys deserve to sell it out and sell as many of those records as possible. You know, I think, well, you do because you put the work in. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
let's be real, you guys could have given up. There's plenty of reasons, and people would have been understanding. They'd be like, yeah, I get it, you know, but you didn't. And I think that this is, I think, you know, now you get to reap the rewards of that.
It's weird. I feel like not Munchausen, but I feel like you can't. Like you had, like it was almost like one of those things where it's like even if we wanted to fucking beat each other's ass.
Oh, you're talking about like
call
are
it a
you
day.
talking about like where you like identify with your captor basically, which
Kind of, yeah.
so it's sort of like a Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, there's no option to not do it. You know, you're just kind of in there.
Right. It's like I said, it's just kind of a compulsion at this point. It's like this has to be a thing.
Has to.
And then, you know, after the album, we don't know. We've sat down and talked about what the future looks like. We don't know what it looks like, but
Genuinely don't have
Because
a clue.
I was gonna say, like one of my last questions I was gonna ask you is like, what's next for My Hands to War after
Don't know.
this?
There's definitely a small break because
Like,
we need it.
yeah, we're taking like an actual planned break.
Yeah.
Like last year, we unintentionally didn't do a
Like
lot.
we were still playing shows.
Yeah, but just not as My Hands to War. But like we discussed like come April 7th, which is the day after the show, 6-month break minimum. No,
Yeah, we're just
no My Hands to War.
yeah,
Period.
Oh, wow.
we're just
Like
having fun.
intentionally doing other stuff.
Well, also, we've had these 4 Lame Johnny songs on deck for a hot fucking minute, and I lost all the lyrics during when he got in his car crash. So like we didn't play those songs, and we've since refigured out 3 of them.
That we can play them. Yeah.
The 4th one is gone, but I have to rewrite the lyrics to the rest of them. So like everything in Lame Johnny's done in the room. So like that's the writing force is me and Justin just staring at each other, and I'm like, hold on, dude, just like let me get this thing out of my brain, and then he'll indulge me, and I'll write the lyric down. Hey, what does that sound like? And he'll throw me an idea like that. It's one of the only bands I've ever been in where all 3 of us write those songs. Like in real time, in the moment. It's so much fucking fun. I love writing. That needs to go. Like that needs to be out there. So we need to do that, and you can't put all this time and effort into all the stuff.
Yeah.
And so what will probably end up happening is we'll take definitely a break, but we'll still be meeting up and hanging out. Like Lame Johnny's like the next week. Like I want those fucking songs out. They're so cool.
And we have a plan for that.
We do. I've said it a few times. I don't think I've said it on here yet, but it's going to be fun. It's reminiscent of like the COVID era show style, like live, like on the
Nice.
internet kind of thing.
Ooh.
A different take on it though. Yeah.
Huh.
So we can get that done. Fucking Shinfo rules, dude. I'm just gonna say it. That band fucking owns shit. I love playing in that band.
Is it true y'all practice like every week, basically, in some form or variety?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
The only reason if we can is because like if Corey's got to work, or I mean like you know obviously like life stuff, but like ever since 2017, other than a handful of times and when I was gone, I mean even when I was gone, when
We were still practicing. While
yeah.
I was in the hospital.
yeah they still practice because they would FaceTime me and practice all the songs.
Oh my God, that's
But,
so cool.
But legitimately since 2017, I can only think of maybe like if you just put it out in total days. Yeah, less than 2 weeks where we didn't have at least where I at least didn't do one band practice a week.
Right.
And even before
We were cranking 2 or 3 before
the pandemic.
We were together all the time.
Yeah.
So basically, if somebody really wants to see you guys or wants to hear like the album like live, this is April 6th is basically their only chance. I assume it's probably the only time some of those songs are ever going to be played, right?
That's I mean, you got to think about an album. That's probably so undeniably we're not going to play the whole album again. That's just part of it. You're not going to do all those songs. They work live, but they don't necessarily you want to put them in a live setting all the time, you know?
Mhm.
But our sets do go like this, so some could come and go or whatever. But these songs fucking hurt to play, and that's the big hang up. That's the part we don't know. That's the unknown. Like, if we come back, do we play them ever? Do we throw some in there? Like the old shit's done. That shit is done. So if you've never seen us that night, like Nepotism, like Repelling, 557, that's the one we're keeping.
Yeah. So we're playing 8 songs in the second set. 8.5. Yeah. Like Post Fulgurate.
Wink, wink.
Yeah. Post Fulgurate we're keeping in because that song I think encapsulates.
Yeah, I wasn't counting Post.
Yeah. That song encapsulates everything the band's ever done because it also serves as the epilogue to the album. Like when the album's done, you can put Post Fulgurate on and be like, oh, that's the end. That's the end of it. So like the whole album takes place literally in the blink of an eye.
We Quentin Tarantino'd y'all, and you didn't even know it.
And this is actually Kurt's idea. So shout out to Kurt. But then when you open your eyes after you blink and the whole album's done, that's when the drums and Post Fulgurate start. That's what happens. So you have 12 songs and a little epilogue, but the epilogue was put out first.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Pulp Fiction your asses.
Gotcha, bitch. No. But going back to that, so it's like in our souls, I know mine and his for sure, like when we jam, that's not what comes out. That was a very methodic thing that kind of had to be made, like I've said a million times on this podcast. But so when we jam, it's still wild, it's outlandish, but it's on a different level now because I've leveled up in my abilities. And I'm losing mad weight now, so I'm not going to be a fat piece of shit trying to do crazy drum parts anymore.
It's going to be the part where I have to keep up with him now.
I think we're going to get there, soon. My metabolism is awesome, y'all. I don't know if y'all have had it ever, but turns out I haven't, and this shit rules. I've lost 40 pounds, dude.
That's
in
awesome.
4 weeks because of my stupid thyroid. It's on the way to being fixed. Like I'm on medicine to like boost it or whatever, but we're on medicine 1 and it's already insane.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was making jokes at
so you can feel like a difference or whatever.
Oh, dude, even ask him. Literally 2 months ago, I couldn't play 7 songs. My hands would be numb. I'm done. Like I'm spent.
He would look more like. He's a manual labor guy, so
right.
he always just looks tired at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night.
Right.
But we'd play 2 or 3 songs and then take a quick stop, and I could just tell he would just be like, you see him just kind of do that and be like, all right, get a few more in, all that stuff. And he's like, there was one particular practice he had just a couple months ago. Where he's like, guys, I'm done. I think we played 5 songs.
And I'm almost never the guy that.
He's the dude who's like, we need to play more, we need to tighten this up, and he was like, guys, he's like, I can't.
The comeback show, Todd got mouthy with me one time. I was like, cool, we're doing it again now. And we played that entire set again. So it's like, I'm used to just grinding shit. And I don't know how it all happened. I mean, I do, smoking and fucking just treating myself like a garbage can. But now I'm back and it feels better. And then last week, dude, we played 20 fucking songs.
Wow.
And I could have played a few more. I mean, my butt hurt because you shouldn't sit down on a drum throne for that long.
Yeah.
But I could have easily powered through another 5 or so.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean,
in just a month, dude.
Yeah.
All this is in just 1 month. It's so wild. I didn't realize how fucked up I was until I found out how fucked up I was, right? Because I'm one of those old school. Is your pinky off? Yeah, fell off at work. I put tape on it. It's fine. You know?
The bootstrap kind of guy.
Yeah. So it's like, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Do it. Turns out I was going to die.
Oh, wow.
Oh, for real. Oh, my shit was all fucked up.
Huh.
So we would have been having 2 fucking memorials. Could you imagine?
Because you did what? Go to a doctor?
Yeah.
For the first time in 20 years.
25.
25 years?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's don't kids, don't smoke. I mean, unless you want to, it's pretty cool. But definitely go to the doctor more than once a decade. I fucked that part up. You know what? Listen, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Not afraid to admit it. Turns out you should go to the doctor sometimes.
I have to give you credit for something. You basically are the reason I stopped smoking cigarettes.
For real?
Hell yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Because we did
Badass.
when we did our episode of Crashcast, talking about it on camera was very embarrassing to me, and so I just eventually, pretty soon after that, stopped buying packs, and then stopped buying them, and then like I would still do the thing where I wouldn't buy them, but I would occasionally like bomb one,
Yeah.
and then it sucked, and I would be like, oh god, why did I ever do this? And then eventually the thought of doing it was so gross that I just stopped.
Because you get that nicotine, and then all of a sudden you're driving past the gas station on your way home from a show.
It's like, oh, I'll just buy a pack and just like spread it out.
Oh, it'll last a month.
Yeah.
And I would be wiped like on stage, and like now I don't ever get like I would feel like literally like the first handful of shows I would feel like I was gonna pass out, and now
100%.
now it's not.
I mean, you mean 2 years for both of us? Are we at 2?
It's coming up on 2 years.
Coming up on 2 years, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so as far as this goes, I think we're nearing the end, and so I just thank you guys so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I think what y'all are doing is very cool.
That means a lot, dude.
And I think I respect you guys a lot. And yeah, so if you want to like see these dudes, you want to hear these songs they've got coming up, absolutely April 6th. You go to Vino's. It's gonna be y'all and Cord and Jocks. What time does it start?
So that's imperative. That's a good question. We'll end there. 7:30 on the dot.
On the
our
dot.
doors. The show will start on the dot at 8 o'clock. Don't think like there's going to be like a waiting time. It's all happening in real. Like we're actually running a different door thing at Vino's just for that night.
So you open the doors at 7:30, and then right at 8, y'all are gonna start
immediately.
And then I guess y'all don't really stop after that, and until it's
the
done.
music will not stop. But it's only an hour and a half. It's only an hour and a half of shit. Like that's what's crazy about all this. It's like it's not shit. You'll be. That's just how I speak, Kurt.
Your shit.
Don't. What's the thing? Don't
cut that out. Cut that out.
No. So it's going to be very like paint by the numbers. Boom, 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 and like we'll be done by 9:30.
Nice.
If you're not there, fuck you.
Well, you say you shouldn't say shit.
Is there any?
You know what? I'm gonna stop you right there. If you're not there, fuck you. I have put too much shit into this band and into this album. I'm gonna throw my hat again. Fucking be there. He's gonna throw my hat for me. Fucking be there, or I'm gonna fucking break your necks.
You get a fucking record. Jesus.
You get a record. You get 2 shows. I'm gonna come after you.
You get a record if you pre-order a ticket.
You get a record if you pre-order a ticket. Kurt corrected me, and after this camera comes off, I'm gonna break his neck too.
If you're too stupid to pre-order a ticket, then you just gotta pay $25 to get in.
Well, it's still going to be worth it. Like we're spending money on production, dude. Like we're not make. I think people see that ticket price and they kind of forget that it's so many things. Like we're spending and have already spent a fortune. We will never recoup the funds.
Once you explain it to them, they're like, "Oh, I have that ticket."
Yes,
Still.
dude. Last night, I said we can end here. Last night, I had no less than like 5 separate people. It was a great show. Come up to me and we're like talking about it, and it was like, what a concept. Just what a wild ass idea. I was like, well,
concept.
I think we're gonna just kind of have to see how this plays out. Which already, I mean, it's already looking very well. So it's gonna be it's exciting. Like I'm excited. I don't. It's sold out as far as it's just time right now. Like it's already gonna be sold out. So I'm just excited that we get to experience all this in a full room with all of our. Dude, we have people coming from all over.
I have one other question. What color is the vinyl? It's a very important question.
So you know the single artworks that we put on Spotify and shit?
Mm-hmm.
It's that without the song titles on it. That is the album cover.
Oh, wow.
So it's everything about this is me and Justin are really, we like vintage.
No, I mean
things.
like the color of the vinyl itself.
Oh, multicolored. They're recycled.
Oh, so it's not like just a black record?
No, right? Because that's the thing.
Well,
the recycled ones is like you don't pick. You don't get an option.
Yeah, it's either black or
gold, or it could be purple.
Or so you actually don't know what color your record's going to be?
I mean, we don't know.
We don't know.
For record collectors, this is a huge deal, by the way.
Is it?
This is, yeah.
I just think it's cool because it's recycled material.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's better.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
So do your part for the
God damn
environment.
it! Fucking Jesus Christ!
$25?
How much cool shit do we have
Are
to
you
do?
fucking
What
serious?
the fuck?
My
God.
bladder has been full this whole time. Did the camera just go off?
Liquid death.
shout
Drink
out.
liquid death.
Drink
our
liquid
shit,
death.
dude.
Yo, hey, at MHTW Band on Instagram, at MHTW Band 501 at Twitter. I don't fucking know. I barely use it. My Answer War on Facebook. We have a TikTok. I'm not going to say it. We're going to post something on there, but I'm not going to say what it is.
Are we?
I don't know. I've had to make like 3 separate accounts because I can't remember the shit. It's not important. Quit doing the fade out, Kurt. Are you fucking kidding me? $25. Do your part for the environment. Honor my dead friend, or I'm gonna find you.
They will find you.
If you're gonna support,
We know it.
If you're gonna support the scene,
Yeah.
support me.
Oh,
That's it.
shit,
Support
dude.
Me.
Strong
Justin,
words.
William, Cole. No one else. Shout out Terminal Nation.
William.
Shout out Morbid Vision. Shout out Zash. Shout out Hell Tight. Shout out Mammoth Caravan. Shout out all the fucking bands.
Shout out Second Life
Shout out Second
and
Life.
Jar Fire.
Everybody. Arkansas versus everybody. Go for gold. Kurt Lunsford. Fucking Vino's.
Cord and Jocks.
Yeah, shout out Cory and Justin.
Whitewater Tavern. Shout out.
4-quarter bar.
Shout out Full Moon Records.
Justin. Not you. Justin.
Oh yeah, Justin. Yeah, shout out Justin from Full Moon Records. Go grab Dead Weight by Tiny Towns on vinyl, and if you don't,
Shout
I'm
out
gonna
Tiny
fucking
Towns.
Fight you.
Yeah.
And we made of steel.
Yo, look at that
Partially.
record. Yo, isn't that the coolest?
That's so fucking tight.
It's so sick.
That's so tight.
You know, I know people that like don't even own record players that buy vinyl just
I've had
because of
so
that.
many people
They're
that have
so
told me that
sick.
Our vinyl is there for the next vinyl.
That's
We're done.
yeah. That's
Brandon, plug your stuff.
yeah.
Oh, check out the Ringo Report, Instagram.com/Ringo Report, Facebook.com, something Ringo Report. I don't know. I've been doing interviews. I'm going to be actually dropping an artist spotlight on Cory and Justin the day of the show, or maybe like the
Hell
day before
yes.
or whatever. And so, yeah, shout out thank y'all so much for letting me do the Ringo
you,
Report.
Brandon.
It's my
Not a brag.
favorite.
This is awesome.
You know,
Crushed it, man.
yeah, you guys are awesome.
Thank
I
you.
really
You're
awestate it.
All right.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Dun,